I want to share with you today a little more detail behind my health journey and my keto story. Um, you know, Today, a lot of what you see is looking back where I used to be and where I am now. But I wanted to share a little bit more detail on the backstory about how I got to where I needed to make a change. I'm not going to go way into detail, but the purpose of me sharing this is to reach out to those people who might be in a similar place in their life, who might be able to relate, or who can find something that this story, how this story will resonate with them. So I'll take you way back, but keep it really high level. So if I look back to like my middle school and teenage years, on the outside, you see this really pretty good facade. Always happy. When you look back at pictures, I did look really good. I was in great shape. I was in the popular crowds. I played sports, all that kind of stuff. None of that matters. It's high school. But on the inside, that's where I was really kind of secretly broken. I struggled even up into my 20s and 30s with self-esteem issues, very much internal. It wasn't very advertised to the external world, but self-esteem issues. In high school, I suffered from eating disorders. I can do an entire separate video all about that. But I definitely went through a long period of time where I can remember my parents checking behind me to see if I was eating anything. And I would go downstairs and pour some milk into a bowl and put one Fruit Loop in it so it would appear as though it ate breakfast, crazy stuff like that. So eating disorders, comparing myself to others, just, the typical high school girl stuff. You just really, really self-critical. For a while, even in my 20s, I was addicted to laxatives. I took them all the time, so much so that it became a real problem, and I had to get medical intervention to help me stop. I used to have to take sleeping pills just to sleep at night. Tylenol PM and Advil PM and that kind of stuff. Like, I ate them like candy. I had all sorts of other habits that I was abusing myself with that really didn't serve me. And this is like the way back story. So, internally I had this yo-yo of emotions and self-esteem or lack thereof leading up to my adulthood and well into my adulthood. But yeah, like, I was kind of this, in real life, my true existence, it was kind of like a shell of the person that I had the potential to be. But if you were on the outside looking in, you probably thought, and you probably do think if you know me and knew me back then, that I had it all together, that it's all together. So, moving on into my later 20s is when I really started to, it's when your metabolism shifts, right? And so you start to put on a couple pounds here, a couple pounds there. And then you start paying attention a little bit and maybe changing some of your habits, but not that much because we're really selfish individuals, right? Most of us have this story. It's like you pack on a pound or two a year. Before you know it, 10 years later, you've got 20 extra pounds you can't get rid of. So I met my husband, we get married, and we struggle with fertility. We had a fertility battle that went on for about a year and a half. Went through all sorts of fertility drugs. That makes you put on weight. So even though I was doing all of the right things, I put on 10 more pounds beyond what I had already put on. And actually, kind of a really cool sidebar to that story, the week before we were to start our first IVF cycle, I found out I was pregnant. So that was really, really cool. That was awesome, but it actually shifted me into a place where I never had really been before, in that being pregnant, once I got to the part where you could really see that it's a baby and not just a lot of nachos, where you could tell I was legitimate pregnant. That was the first time I'd ever legit felt sexy, actual sexy. I was owning it, owned it for the first time ever, which was a huge huge milestone, a huge change like that I really, really needed. I needed to know what that felt like. I had never truly, truly felt that. Didn't matter if anybody else felt that way about me, and I think they did. I mean, there's something beautiful about a pregnant woman, but I felt it like all the way to my bones. I felt sexy for the first time ever, which was cool. So, then you go and, you get really big, have a baby. So I was forced into having a C-section with Amos because I had what they call placenta previa, which means your placenta is like laying down over your cervix. You're not allowed to go into labor because you could die from blood loss. It's risky to you and your baby. So I had to go early. I was 3 weeks early and had a C-section. Lots of recovery there. Lots of, it's a first baby. There's all kinds of crazy hormones and stuff going on. But I did okay through that and kind of almost had a little bit of a comeback-ish, I would call it. And even ran my second half marathon, maybe 10 months after I gave birth to Amos, my first kid. But I was still, I kind of, I guess, got to that place where I accepted the fact that this is the new me now. This is my mom bod. This is my 30-something bod. Like, I'm never going to be what I was in high school when I really didn't see how great I looked in the first place. Like, I'm never going to be that person again. Then I got pregnant with Ash. And that's where it really, like, internally, I really struggled more than ever. Had a really hard time with my pregnancy. I couldn't exercise. I had to go to physical therapy a lot because I had some hip issues. I was sick a lot. Like, the whole thing was just hard. It was harder, I should say. And then, after that, trying to come back from that physically, it is much harder the second time around. And in your late 30s, all of it is just harder to do. And so I found myself 6 months postpartum still wearing my maternity clothes, wondering, what the hell do I even do about this? Like, I have no idea what to do with myself. I really had been trying everything. And I tried everything in the years past, but like really was working hard in this case. I was eating all the right thing. I was tracking my calories. I was exercising. I had diastasis recti, which means your abs kind of separate during pregnancy. And so you have to be really careful on what exercises you do to get that to come back together. So I ordered this, Natalie Hodson, I think was her name. I ordered this workout program and I was doing it every day religiously, doing exactly what she said. And like nothing was working. And I had all this extra weight on top of the fertility weight, on top of all of it. And I never went to a doctor about postpartum depression. And I don't know that I actually had that. I don't know for sure what that, I know it's a real thing. But you guys, I was in a bad place. I mean, crying spells, like literally every single day. I can't remember a day where I wasn't crying about something, anything, sometimes completely ridiculous stuff. Had no energy. I was sneaking out of work to take naps during the day. I was going to sleep early, waking up late, going to work late, leaving work early. It's just a really bad cycle. I was not in a good place. And it was just really, really hard. And you know what? Probably every mom, every parent goes through similar stuff. But I just didn't know what else to do with myself. And I saw, and this is the part that compelled me to keep sharing and has compelled me to like really go public with my health journey, is because I found something that had impacted my life so much that it would in some ways be kind of selfish of me like not to share what's working for me. And different things work different for different people. But this is something I feel so passionately about. I just wanted to give you the backstory on somewhat of where I came from to how I got to where I am today. And so I literally saw one of my friends. I was scrolling Facebook, probably wasting time, being bored. And I just noticed a little before and after picture of her. And it's a girl I'd known since like elementary school. Real person. And she was a similar body shape as me, similar backstory in some ways. And there was this thing that was changing her life. Like you could see it in her face even. She was like transformed from the inside out. And she kept talking about this drink. She was talking about ketosis. I didn't even know what that meant. This is back in December last year, December 2017. I Googled the word ketosis because I didn't know what it meant. And she was talking about ketones and ketosis. And so I went on this binge. If you know me, I'm all or nothing. My husband calls me all or nothing all the time. I went on this research binge like a crazy person for like weeks and weeks. And it consumed me. It consumed my mind. And I got completely obsessed with just learning as much as I could. And I finally was like, you know what? If this is going to work for her and nothing else ever has, this could work for me. She was selling these 10-day experience packs of ketones. It was these little packets, and she was saying you drink them and they put you into ketosis. And I learned that ketosis meant where your body shifts into burning fat, including your stored fat, for fuel instead of carbs and glucose. And it was all about like cutting down on sugar and carbs and like getting that yucky stuff out of your life. So I was like, okay, I can do that. I can do anything. I've done all the crap. None of it worked. If this might work, I'll try it. I'll try anything. I'll pay anything. I don't care how much it costs. I'm that unhappy. And so I did. I bought her a little 10-day experience pack. And you guys, in the first, I would say it was like 3 or 4 days, like I knew I was onto something. Like my life lit up. I cannot even explain to you the difference. My husband probably could, because he could see it. Like he was like, you're literally a different human being than you were last week, a few days ago. I don't understand what's happening here. And I was like, I don't care what's happening, honestly. He's like, I did a lot of research and I feel comfortable with this, but I feel amazing. And so after 10 days, I weighed myself. And granted, quite a bit of this, I'm sure, was like bloat water weight. But for me personally, I was down like 8.5 pounds. I felt better than I had felt energy-wise, like ever. It was the first string of days, and I cannot remember that I didn't take a nap. I was happy, like smiling, real actual smiles, not like fake being in public or being at work smiles. Like I was kind of glowing from the inside out, if that makes any sense. And I was like, I don't even care about like the weight part's great, but like I just feel good. So I kept going, and I didn't even talk to her. I felt so strongly about this that I literally went on Prove It's the brand of ketones, went on their website, read through their comp plan, read through all the stuff about being a promoter, which is crazy because for me, before that point in time, I was very, very anti, mostly just annoyed by MLM type stuff or network marketing. I could have never in 1 million years seen myself as being one of like those people, ever. And I was like, people are gonna want this, and even if it's just enough for me to like get mine for free, I'm gonna promote this stuff because this is the real deal. This is science. It really was not some kind of crazy thing that all these fake ingredients were thrown into. This was science. It was backed by and funded by NASA, by the Department of Defense. It was developed for preventing seizures. There's all of this really amazing medical and scientific information out there behind it. I'm sold, 100% sold. And I call her, I'm like just asking a couple questions, making sure I'm doing it correct. I'm like, so I'm going to be a promoter. And she's like, wait, what? Yeah, join us, go ahead. And you guys, here I am 8 months later, and it's turned into something that has become like my legit passion, purpose in life beyond being a mother. Swear to God. I get excited about this when I wake up in the morning. Sometimes I literally, and this sounds stupid, but I literally can't go to sleep at night because I'm thinking about stuff related to this. Like, I promise you, I get so excited and so tied into the success of other people. Like, it just, I don't know. It's like when they say when you give to people, when you do something good for somebody else, it gives back to you like tenfold, and it does. And I'm addicted to that now. Like, I love it. 100% love it. So here we are. I'm, about 8 months later, I've been drinking ketones. I've shifted to a low carb, high fat diet. It's mostly just low carb now. I don't focus so much on the high fat part, but I read all kinds of stuff about it. I do research constantly. I'm constantly feeding my brain for more information on ways to help people, to share something with other people, and to add value to your life. Like, seriously, that's my everything. And I'm down 33 pounds. There is a huge bin of medicines that I no longer take, over-the-counter crap, things to make me fall asleep, things to make me wake up in the morning, things to make me go to the bathroom, things to make me stop going to the bathroom, things to prevent headaches, things to knock out the really bad headaches, like all the over-the-counter medicines that used to just keep me functioning. Shoot, you take that alone out of the picture, that and all the coffees that I buy, I'm actually saving money. Even if I wasn't a promoter, like, I'm saving money for myself by just switching to this lifestyle and by drinking pure therapeutic ketones. On top of that, the energy, it's hard to explain unless you feel it as well, but it's not a jittery caffeine crash sort of energy. It's smooth, it's focused. Ketones are fuel for your brain. And so it just makes you feel good and function better and do better and feel better. It lifts your mood. It suppresses your appetite to a degree. It helps with those cravings of all of that sugar and that crap that you want to get out of your life anyway. Look at my skin. I don't have any makeup on. I've got some mascara on. And I literally put on mascara before this video because after this video, we're going to dinner tonight. Like, my skin's clearer. I sleep better. It's really legit restorative sleep. I should show you guys a screen. I'm using my phone to take the video, but I should show you a screenshot of my Fitbit. My Fitbit tracks my sleep. I've been tracking it for years. And I wake up feeling refreshed. If I've slept 4 hours, if I've slept 2 hours, that's a stretch. If I've slept 6, most of the time I sleep somewhere in the 6-hour range when you add it all up. I've got a 1-year-old and a 3.5-year-old, so, you know, there can be some nights where there's some ups and downs. But you guys, life-changing stuff. Literally life-changing. And when I say that, I mean it from experience. And not just my experience. I've now helped hundreds, and I really mean that, hundreds of people in my network and people that I don't even know. And I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to keep going. And if this has sparked your interest, let me know. Find me, message me, leave a comment. Let's talk about it. And if anything about the sharing and the promoter side of things strikes your interest as well, we can talk about that later too. Like, all of it provides this level of life change that I cannot even explain. Didn't even go into the money part of it because that doesn't even matter. But that's a component to it as well, if that's something that strikes your interest. But I just wanted to go into a little bit more detail about why. Like, I'm not just this person who's out there pushing a product. That's nice. It's nice to sell stuff. But I really, really care about all of it. I care about the ketogenic diet. I care about creating recipes that work well for the busy mom or the busy dad or the extremely social person who's not home a lot or the person who travels a lot. I do all of that. I have a full-time job. I travel a lot for work. I have 2 kids. I have a social life. Like, I'm freaking busy. And I still do this. I just want you to know that I care about all of that stuff. I'm not pushing a product. I believe in the product that I'm selling, which is the only way that I can possibly sell it. But I just wanted to give you some of my backstory. Hopefully that was relatable to you, hopefully helpful. And if you want to know more about anything, like, there's literally no off-limits question. I'm an open book, and I'm happy to chat with you anytime. See you later.